Come on down. All right. Okay, I'm going to be right up here. And so y'all want to face me? Do I have everyone? Patrick, Morgan. Okay, here we go. Come on down. Mom, you want to sit on a stool over there? Okay. Okay, it's story time. So we know what we do with story time. We shut the lights out. Okay, everyone, are we ready? Okay. Here you go. Honey, you want to come right here? Here you go. You want to come up here so I can see you? All right. Wow, that was awesome. Having that hot chocolate, that was great, wasn't it? Oh my goodness, I loved it. It was so fun.
I had one.
You what?
I had one sip.
You had one sip? Was it a hot, 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 hot sip? Can you say hot, hot, hot?
No.
Why not? Come on.
No.
Who will say hot, hot, hot like that? Who will do it?
Hot, hot, hot.
Let's hear it.
Hot, hot, hot.
What is it? Morgan, you can do it.
Hot, hot, hot.
All right. How about you, Patrick?
Hot, hot, hot.
You got it. All right. Do you like all the marshmallows that were thrown? That was really fun. Huh, you're not allowed to do that at home.
It's a surprise.
It was a surprise.
Yeah, that was my shirt.
Oh, it got on your shirt.
And astonishment.
It was an astonishment? Wow. Well, right now we are going to read from the Polar Express. You know now what it's like to go through a tunnel, to see a real conductor, and you also know what it's like to have a lot of fun. Thank you for giving me my ticket so that I could eat breakfast and I could get away from the conductor. Evan, looks like you're enjoying that, but would you like to help me? Okay. You want to wipe your hands off? You just lick them?
Here.
Okay.
Evan.
All right, we are going to start on our magical story of the Polar Express. Ready? On Christmas Eve, many, many years ago, I lay quietly in my bed. Oh, I'm sorry. I did not rustle the sheets. I breathed slowly and silently. I was listening for a sound a friend had told me I'd never hear. The ringing bells of Santa's sleigh. There is no Santa, my friend had insisted. But I knew he was wrong. Late that night, I did hear sounds, though. Not of ringing bells. From outside came the sounds of hissing steam and squeaking metal. I looked through my window and saw a train standing perfectly still in front of my house. What do you think it was? It was a train, but what was the name of the train? The Polar Express.
It was on the track.
It was wrapped in an apron of steam. Snowflakes fell lightly around it. A conductor stood at the open door of one of the cars. He took a large pocket watch from his vest, then looked up at my window. I put on my slippers and robe. I tiptoed downstairs and out the door. The conductor then yelled.
All aboard.
The conductor then yelled.
All aboard.
All aboard! All right. Everyone, can you all repeat what the conductor yelled? 1, 2, 3. All aboard! Well, he said, are you coming? Where? I asked. Why, Mr. Conductor, what did you tell me?
Yes, to the North Pole.
To the North Pole. Yes! This is the Polar Express. I took his outstretched hand and he pulled me aboard. The train was filled with other children, all in their pajamas and their nightgowns. Who's wearing pajamas and nightgowns today? You got it. We sang Christmas carols and ate candies with nougat centers as white as snow. We drank hot cocoa as thick and as melted like chocolate bars. Outside, the lights of the town and the villages flickered in the distance as the Polar Express raced downward. Soon there were no more lights to be seen. We traveled through the cold, dark forests, where lean wolves roamed and white-tailed rabbits hid from our train as it thundered through the quiet of the wilderness. And those are the white-tailed rabbits roaming. We climbed mountains so high it seemed we would scrape the moon. Reach your hand up really high in the air. As high as you can, as high as you can. Can you touch the moon?
No.
No? Can you touch the moon?
No.
So it must have been pretty high. But the Polar Express never slowed down. Faster and faster. We ran along, rolling over peaks and through valleys, like a car on a roller coaster.
Roller coaster?
A roller coaster, yes.
What's a roller coaster?
It's a car that goes on a track, just like a train. The mountains turned into hills, the hills to snow-covered plains. We crossed a barren desert of ice, the great polar ice cap. Lights appeared in the distance. They looked like the lights of a strange ocean liner sailing on a frozen sea. There, said the conductor. What did we see?
Northern Lights.
The North Pole. The North Pole. It was a huge city, standing alone at the top of the world, filled with factories where every Christmas toy was made. At first we saw no elves. They're gathering in the center of the city, the conductor told us. That is where Santa will give us the first gift of Christmas. Who receives the first gift, we all asked. The conductor answered, he will choose one of you. Look, shouted one of the children, the elves! Outside we saw hundreds of elves. As our train grew closer to the North Pole, we slowed to a crawl. So crowded were the streets with Santa's helpers. When the Polar Express could go no farther, we stopped and the conductor led us outside. Yes, you got to get outside and see all the elves. We pressed through the crowd to the edge of a large open circle. In front of us stood Santa's sleigh. The reindeer were excited. They pranced and paced, ringing the silver bells that hung from their harnesses. It was a magical, magical sound. It was a magical, magical sound, the most magical sound I'd ever heard. Across the circle, the elves moved apart, and Santa Claus appeared. The elves cheered wildly. Now let's pretend like you're all elves and you've just seen Santa, and let's cheer wildly. 1, 2, 3. Yay! Santa! He marched over to us and pointing to me, he said, let's have this fellow here. He jumped into his sleigh. The conductor handed me up. I sat on Santa's knee and he asked, now what would you like for Christmas? What would you like for Christmas? Barbies. How about you?
A Lego building.
A Lego building. How about you? What was that? A racetrack. How about you? Movies. Would anyone else want to tell me what they want for Christmas? You? No? What do you want for Christmas? Barbies. What do you want for Christmas? All I want for Christmas is my 2 front teeth. Okay. He marched over to us again, and when he asked what would he want for Christmas, oh, he didn't know what to say. He just didn't know what to say. I knew that I could have any gift that I'd imagined, anyone I picked out, a Barbie, an Xbox, a DSi, Legos, anything. But the thing I wanted most for Christmas was not inside Santa's bag. What I wanted more than anything was one silver bell from Santa's sleigh. When I asked, Santa smiled. Then he gave me a hug and told an elf to cut a bell from the reindeer's harness. The elf tossed it up to Santa. He stood, holding the bell high above him, and called out, "The first gift of Christmas." The first gift. A clock struck midnight as the elves roared their way to approval. Santa handed the bell to me, and I got it in my bathrobe pocket. The conductor helped me down from the sleigh. Santa shouted out the reindeers' names and cracked his whip. He charged forward and climbed into the air. Santa circled once above us, then disappeared into the cold, dark, polar sky. As soon as we were back inside the Polar Express, the other children asked to see my bell. I reached in my pocket, but the only thing I felt was a hole. I had lost the silver bell from Santa's sleigh. Let's hurry outside and look for it, one of the children said. But the train gave a sudden lurch and started moving. We were on our way home without the bell.
You heard it?
It broke my heart to lose that bell. When the train reached my house, I sadly left the other children. I stood at the doorway and waved goodbye. Everyone wave goodbye. Wave goodbye. Goodbye. The conductor said something from the moving train, but I couldn't hear it. What? I yelled out. He cupped his hands around his mouth and yelled, "Merry Christmas!" As he yelled, "Merry Christmas," the Polar Express let out a loud blast from its whistle and sped away. On Christmas morning, my little sister Sarah and I opened our presents. When it looked as if everything had been unwrapped, Santa found one last small box behind the tree. It had my name on it! It had my name on it! Did you hear me? It had my name on it! It had my name on it! Inside was the silver bell. There was a note. It said, "Found this on the seat of my sleigh. Fix that hole in your pocket." Signed, Mr. C. Who do you think wrote that note? Santa did. I shook the bell. It made the most beautiful sound my ears had ever heard. Oh, it was wonderful. But then I noticed something. My mother said, "Oh, that's too bad. Oh, that's too bad." When my mom and dad listened to it, they shook it and they couldn't hear anything. Nothing at all. But when I shook it, I heard this. So why is it that you think that one bell I could hear, and it was the most beautiful sound I ever heard, and the other my parents couldn't hear? They didn't truly believe. You got it. And we know how important it is to truly believe. Does anyone know how to read here? Would you like to come up and read the last page of the book? This is the most important part.
At one time, most of my friends could hear the bell, but as years passed, it fell silent for all of them. Even Sarah found one Christmas that she could no longer hear its sweet sound. Though I've grown old, the bell still rings for me as it does for all who truly believe.
Very good.
What is your name, honey? Dakota, come on back here. I want to give you the first gift of Christmas. You're in charge of ringing this bell for all the children who believe. Okay. Everyone, did you hear that? Everyone, quick, back to your seats. We're about to approach the North Pole. Hurry, hurry, everyone. Hurry. Get your bell